Citizens, how's your spirit? Mine, exhausted. My theme song says nurturing, but that's true. But woo, my body is exhausted. And so while we wait for some folks to get in here, I'm going to tell you guys why my theme song almost always includes a picture of the weather. Um, Living with a chronic illness includes knowing that the weather is usually the cause of some portion of your feelings and pain. Good morning, Shanita. I'm so glad to see your beautiful spirit here. How is your spirit this morning? Um, I was just saying or trying to explain that it's part of the reason why I'm still finding my footing when it comes to when I'll be streaming videos and how often I post theme songs and why they look the way they do. Hey, Unique View, so glad to see you, handsome spirit. How are you doing today? Glad to hear it, Shanita. Um, and then I want to make sure this is streaming to Twitch. Give me just a second. Yay, we're on Twitch. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So, but the theme song in the mornings, I'm sorry, when it comes to living with a chronic pain illness or really any chronic illness, the weather has some effect on that, some part to do with how you feel each day. Um, and so there's something that many of us call pain insomnia. And it's usually pain resulting from incoming weather or rain that keeps you up all night long. And so when you see the weather like it is right now, um, outside or in the video that I posted this morning, it's all clouded over. The more clouds there are, the more intense the clouds, the darker the clouds they are, the more pain that I usually feel, the more intense that it is. And it goes all the way to my bones. So I kind of spend the night either up working like I did last night and taking tiny naps where I can get them, or tossing and turning in the bed because you can never really get comfortable. So I started taking videos and pictures of the weather each morning as a way of kind of telling myself, aha, we tackled this regardless, even though this pain is absolutely atrocious, we made it through. And so that's pretty much the reason for, why the theme songs are usually clouds. I figured out that the best thing for me to do with the theme songs is at the end of the week is to package them into a playlist. And for now, to leave them here on YouTube as I try to grow the community on Discord and Buy Me a Coffee. They'll become, I guess, kind of not membership perks for you guys, but A1 day one perks, just for being here and showing up and letting me know that I'm not screaming out into the void. So I greatly appreciate you guys being here today. Um, excuse me. To that end, I do have a special announcement, a little challenge that I am putting to myself and you guys. I will say that it does have something to do with my birthday, which is sooner than later. I'm a Libra. That's all I'm going to say for now. Go Libra, go Libra. I know, right? I told y'all I wasn't going to be one of them type of girls, but some things you just can't help. Um, I think each year as I get to my birthday, I start to think about, I become more introspective. Like I said in the first video on how I murdered a fat chick, um, you have to, excuse me, sorry. Pain insomnia brings the voice, the need for fella to be close by. Forgive me. It also brings a little bit of brain fog, but I've got notes, and then on the back side here, all of the banners have a question just in case I forget where I am. I'm learning this thing to the best of my little disabilities. Ta-da! Um, oh crap. Anywho, um, so yeah, each year I get a little bit more introspective. When you decide that you're going to murder your fat chick, you've got to start to think about what that looks like. So I would say that really learning to look inside of myself, figure out who I am and what I wanted to be didn't come until about 2006, 2007 when I decided to have the surgery, right? I had to figure out what my motive was. And my motive was my fellows, right? Those dudes are everything, you know. Excuse me. And I figured that out way back in 93, right before I graduated from high school. My best friend was 16 years old. We were 16 at the time, excuse me, and roughly. And her parents were older parents of an older generation, so to speak. And they had her lined up to be a mortician, lock, stock, and barrel. I mean, I told this story before. And I just couldn't see it. I was like, nope, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. So I decided then that I wanted, and I compared them to my parents who had us early, obviously not in the traditional way, but they had us early. They married and they stayed together for 21 years, and that's what truly counts. Um, but having said all of that, I knew then that I wanted to have my children early. I knew that being a young Black woman in America, I was going to have to get married in order to be able to do that. Back then, baby mamas were not looked upon with any kind of, I mean, I suppose that they're being mistreated now in the red pill community, but back then they were, it was shunned all the way around. When I was 13, my best friend got pregnant, and her parents made her stand up in front of the church and tell everybody that she had got pregnant by a boy that we went to school with. So yeah, nah, not my bag there. Um, so when it comes down to being introspective, sorry. Good morning, Trash Can Ways. I'm so glad to see you in the chat. How's your spirit this morning? Um, so when it comes to being a mother, I knew early on that I wanted to be a mother. I knew kind of how it needed to look. It had to have a mother and a father, um, and we needed to have some purpose and value. That was what my mother and father had certainly shown me through the years. We are not ready for that red light special right now at Unique View, honey. That might be how some of them children got here, though. Anyway, um, I'm glad to know that you are editing part two, Trash Can Waves. I look forward to it. I thoroughly appreciated part one, and it's kind of the inspiration for this year's theme, along with the video, the live stream from Over the Top WME yesterday, just talking about your legacy and what that looks like. And for me, how I murdered a fat chick, that's part of my legacy. And I'm a culinarian, so why not give it to you in culinary terms, right? So, good morning, blind guy, his wife, their life. How's your spirit this morning? Glad to see you in the chat. Y'all keep a hard party life out there in them YouTube streets, bruh. Even though I was up last night struggling with pain, I couldn't keep up with y'all. Sister had to lay it down and just zero in on trying to get this stream set up for this morning. I'm so proud to have made it on time. Um, you always in trouble, but so am I. Eventually you'll do a live stream and I'll come over there and I'll be your cup of trouble. Or, in your case, a cup of support. That's all it really is. You help me get into trouble in these YouTube streets, and then you come over here and keep me from forgetting what I'm supposed to be focused on, which is the chat and the panel, not myself. So anyway, when it comes down to, I decided that I wanted to be a mother, right? And so, what does a mother look like, right? What did a recipe for a mother look like to me when I was 16? Like I said, it was the things that my parents were doing. My mom and dad were both in the home. Like I said, they married and stayed together until my mother passed away 21 years later. And nah, it wasn't, all peaches and cream and all that nonsense, but we had a great life. I had great parents, and they were always supportive in the way that they could be. And I'm thankful for that every day. I was able to provide that same thing for my sons, and that was one of those things that was on my recipe card. Um, I really wanted to be able to pull up a professional recipe card for y'all, but hunty, I'm here. But what does your recipe card look like, right? When you get a recipe, well, let's talk about it. What is a recipe in general, right? So this morning we're talking about what's it like leaving a legacy as a woman. What does it look like? This is just the start to it. How did you murder your fat? How I murdered my fat chick, excuse me. Um, and the mise en place of life. That's the most important thing. It does come with a taste test, but whether or not it's sweet or bitter is truly on what you get from your serving of introspection, my dear. I'm so glad to see you, keeping me on my toes early. All right, so let's do this. We are going to share my screen, and I am going to show you the definition of a recipe. Because why take my word for it, even though I got this culinary degree, when I can show it to you? Is that big enough for y'all to see? I have a hard time sometimes getting there with this thing. Okay, so what is a recipe? A recipe is a set of instructions used for preparing and producing a certain food, dish, or drink. You are the dish, okay? you know. What does the fellas say? What do you bring to the table? And the ladies say, I am the table. And, the men say they are the prize. You're the dish. You are the main course. And are you ready to be that? Are you a bitter meal? Sweet, sweet and savory? What are you exactly? That's what we're going to get in today. Have you set up your recipe? Is it right? Do you understand your instructions? Do you know what you're doing? Let's talk about it. You're not just going to be you by yourself forever. You're going to be pouring into other people, whether or not it's children, a partner, someone you work with. You affect the world around you too. So, what are you feeding the world? What are you feeding you? Are you nurturing yourself and others, right? All right. So, the purpose of a recipe is to have a precise record of ingredients used, the amounts needed, and the way they are combined. All right. Listen here, you didn't y'all go to Waffle House after the club? And yes, sometimes a disgusting table is absolutely right. Don't nobody want to even eat off your table, let alone taste the dish you're trying to bring to them. And we want to talk about it. How can you change those things? Can you fix them? And that's what's truly important. It's not about me just trying to tell you to bash you down or me enjoying being able to say fat chick still. It's really about just getting you to see that there is a different approach to these things. You have to change your mindset in order to be able to do this. Trash can waves, we are not going to go there. With a name like Trash Can Waves, should you really be talking about anything smelly, sir? Just saying. And after that red light special, you think I'm not reading. I be watching. I be doing all kinds of stuff. All right. So, what does a recipe look like? A recipe has three components, really. The recipe name, that's you. By the way, never mind. The recipe name. What's your name? You are your own unique recipe. There's only one kind of you. There'll be many variations, many plays on it, but there is one you, right? And what are you made up of? You don't need from anybody that you know to keep a dirty house, but what about the ones you're not sure about? You be eating at them potlucks at work. Have you had Karen's potato salad? I'm just saying. I pretty much was trash can ways. I was just trying to do it on the low. Why you got to share everything between us with the whole doggone struggle stream family? Indeed, a precise record of. But here's the thing, Unique View. Even though it's precise, once you've learned the steps, once you've learned your recipe, then you get to hit it with the variations, your flavor, your flair, your little bit of sauce on top, or as Kwame Brown says, your mama's cooking. But before you can get to mama's cooking, you got to have some foundational things in your recipe. You got to just be you in your recipe. Yes, some people do, and I've actually watched the Lapive stream a couple of times. I think it's fascinating. Not something that I would invite into my home. Anxiety reasons give me an immediate out from having to explain any further. Um, but I mean, to each his own. Um, I like to pick at belly buttons, and I think that fart jokes are fantastic. She likes to keep pet roaches, but probably would be disappointed at a 45-year-old laughing at fart jokes. Who knows? I could be wrong. Just saying. It's all right. It takes all kinds of people to run the world. Right. Well, no. Oscar just got to clean up that day. That's all that really is, Peter. Let's be fair. um, okay. So, what does your recipe look like? So, I said that my motive and my intention for murdering my fat chick was my children. So my recipe after I murdered my fat chick, or as I was planning this murder, I had to determine what I was going to replace her with. Right? You can't kill off a whole person and then not put something there in this place. You got to cover up the crime. So in covering up the crime, what was I going to do? Was I going to refill it with the same things that had been there before, or was I going to try something different? Hey, don't yuck my yum. I, I got a thing for putting my finger. Raspberries remind me of belly buttons too. Just saying. So I'm always one of my favorite fruits for that reason. Excuse me. Now, if I was going to tell you all of that, do you really think that I would be you doing too much? Now you trying to get me, you like Vlad TV over there trying to get people hemmed up. Stop it. Anywho, sir. As I was, they don't, if you watch them trash can waves, what is your problem? I be sometimes, see, again, what's your recipe? If a man tells you that belly button smells, that means that he don't wash his. So either you need to have a discussion with your man about cleaning his belly button properly, or you need to walk away. Or take the chance that it's gonna smell like poop. Roses really smell like boo boo ooh. Yeah, roses really smell like. Anyway, as I was saying, um, uh, listen, you have to smell the belly button, and we won't discuss how this is a G-rated morning show. Catch me Wednesday night though, and we'll talk about it. Pow, ta-da! Okay, so what are your ingredients? Okay, so after I decided that I was gonna have my kids early, I meant early, like in my early 20s, not late, moving towards my 30s. I knew that I wanted to be married, and so I started to date with intention. Um, I dated an older gentleman. I dated a couple of gentlemen my age. I did terrible things before I started dating. I too. Had my moment in the land of lostness. How about that? But I came back from it fairly early. Yeah, I graduated from high school intact, and I married at 19. So it tells you that the phase was very short. And again, I dated with purpose and intention. So I married, um, and that was part of my recipe. That was part of the ingredients that were necessary for me. My personal ingredient meant that I needed to know how to be a mother, and I needed to know how to be a wife. Um, I so um in order to be you know what, that's the first time I've been speechless for real, y'all. Like, I'm not clicking on nothing else that say trash can waste on it today. I'm not ready. The brain fog can't take it. I can control the stream. I control the. Ah, Frank is here. Hey, Frank. So glad to see you, Kindred. Thank you. Maybe you can help me keep trash can waves in check over there. I am immediately, my tummy is turning a little bit messing with that man. I start early, Frank. Do you know that it is 7 o'clock in Arizona when I get started? I mean, it's 10 o'clock out there in Jacksonville. You better quit messing with me. I have to get up at 4 o'clock in order to get this tired little thing moving. But I do it because I love y'all. I appreciate it very much. I'm so thankful for y'all being here. Indeed, unique view. And that's the thing. A lot of times I say that marriage is like, or a relationship is like a budget. Having, or like a business, having children is like managing a business. But same can be true for managing a kitchen or managing your restaurant. There is a recipe. Thank you, Quita Honey. Yes, there is a recipe to controlling the stream. And bruh, today I am not reading these recipe cards very well at all. Um, what did I say? Nope, 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 nope. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna have to put you in time out at Trash Can Ways. You go to your corner. You go to your corner and you wait for someone to join you. um, so what's your recipe look like? What are your ingredients? So I knew that I wanted to have a family. What does the recipe for my family look like? A husband and a wife. I wanted 3 children. I didn't care if they were girls or boys. I was one of 3 girls, so I just wanted to make sure I had 3 children. I knew that one wasn't enough, and two. If you could do two, then you could do 3. So hey, 3 was it for me. I had 3. Um, I knew that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. I knew that that required certain things from me. I knew I wanted to be a military wife. I had grown up military. I thought that the life that it had afforded me was absolutely spectacular. And I wanted to provide that to my children, an opportunity to see the world, to meet new people, to not be stuck in Memphis, Tennessee, buying scratch offs and watching whatever latest epidemic unfold right in front of us. And so those were the ingredients that were going to make up my family. Did I know what the man was going to look like on the other side? No. And as I talked about last night in Quita's, I'm sorry, in Over the Top WME stream, and please shout out to Over the Top WME. I hope I can remember to shout her out in my descriptions. um, one of the mistakes that I did make was they say that you look for or you aspire to marry your parent. Like if you're a girl, you look for someone who's similar to your father. If you're a boy, you look for someone who's similar to your mother. Um, but what I forgot was that not only was my dad a special kind of dude, right? You're a special kind of dude when you can take on a woman with 1 child, one on the way, marry, have a third, and then stay together for 21 years until her passing. That's a special kind of dude. Um, and it took some years and some fortitude and some hard things for my dad to become that guy. And unfortunately, I expected my ex to rise to that occasion at 20 something. And then we were thrown into the thick of it. We're in the thick of it. We're in the thick of it. Anyway, so here we are in the thick of it, brand new parents. My mother just passed away. My whole family's grieving. We are in an entire different state from everybody else. And, here I am expecting him to be a Superman. And I didn't give him enough credit. I didn't give him enough chance. And so I admit that. If y'all know him, send him this. This is the closest that he's going to get to much more. And it's not petty. That's just where life is sometimes, right? But I can own up to my mistakes, and I did my best to do that along the way. And that was one of those things. One of my ingredients was humility. Um, I had no idea what I was doing being a parent. And no, I didn't. We were in love. We had talked about getting married. I was in college, so I guess I should explain. My ex and I met in Germany, in Hanau, Germany, in the 90s. And we were together for the year that I went off to the States and went to college. Uh, and when I came back from college, we continued our relationship. And then just about the time that I was supposed to go back to school, we found out that I was pregnant. And shortly thereafter, we found out that my mother had terminal stomach cancer. And from there on out, I made a lot of decisions as a mother based more on fear than my actual ingredients. Though I will say some of them were based on my recipe card and my actual ingredients, right? I came from a home that had two parents in the home. I wanted that for my children. I had discussed that with my then boyfriend before we ever had sex. I made it clear that I was not, that I had a certain set of values. I was not pro choice in my own life. And that I understood that that did not mean that he had to be a part of our lives, but if he wanted to be, that came with the stipulation that we were married. Otherwise, he could come and find us when he got out of the States. He could always have contact, but I wasn't going to be following him around like, you know, a tether to him as he went from duty station to duty station if we weren't married. That was a no go. Um, and allowing the child to be uprooted like that wasn't going to work either. So those are some of my ingredients, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't adhere to my recipe the first time. My mother and father put that into me. Hey, keep it together, little girl. Cross your legs, cross your ankles, cross your toes if you got to. But in the end, as I said, I did marry the father of my son, and then we went on to have three children, three fellas, and everything I do for them, always, then, now, always, I am a living example. As long as I am here, and when I am gone, this YouTube stream, hopefully the corresponding book and community will be the legacy that I leave behind. And so that was important to me. One of my ingredients was legacy. Um, it immediately became important. Like I said, I found out that I was pregnant, and I found out that my mother was dying at the exact same time. And so it immediately mattered to me what I poured into my kid, my child. I do not like saying kid. What was it going to look like? I might not have her around. How am I going to get it right? Am I going to be able to pour into them positivity and compassion and all of those things? I say all the time that the Lord knew better than to give me girls. He gave me three boys. I needed it. I needed it. um, I think it prepared me for the walk ahead in our lives. I think that I was built to be the mother of boys. I know that sounds like I said in my theme song this morning, I was given the equipment to produce a kid, but a child, but there was also a part of me that's innately made to be a mom of boys, you know, remembering to not only compliment them on their strength and their intellect, but to tell them that they're handsome and to tell them that they're funny, and to let them know, all the things that a lot of people don't do. What dance? Um, I have too many dances. We're not going to do that one. I hope you're not talking about me. That was somebody else. Um, right. A recipe is not one way. It is the roadmap. It's learning the basics, right? A recipe has things in it like, excuse me, the temperature settings and all of those things that come under the list of preparations. But so the next thing on here is your list of ingredients. And again, like I said, what's my list of ingredients? We talked about a few of those things. Another one of my list of ingredients, outside of being a two-parent household, military, and positive, excuse me, was that we were also community minded. My mother always took in the soldiers in the community. Through the years, we lived in Germany two separate occasions for 3 to 5 years each. And my father would have soldiers who couldn't go home in the winter or at the holidays. And my mom would just have them over to the house. She'd make cookies and, make a huge holiday meal, even though we weren't strictly Christian. But she'd have everybody over, feed them a big old comforting meal, give them all that mothering, nurturing that they needed, and then send them on their way. Um, and my dad, not really being the people friendly type, would let her be a social butterfly, be there to turn, to carry the heavy things, and then just sit in the back and make sure, sit in the cut, have a couple of conversations and make sure that everything was okay. And that was the recipe for what I thought that my family should look like, what I thought that I should look like, my legacy, what I wanted to leave behind. It does change through the years, but it starts with a foundational set, right, Quita? At the end of the day, you have a set of things that you adhere to. For instance, all of those things. I also wanted, when I say I wanted to raise positive young black men, I grew up, well, I was a teenager in the 90s, in the early 90s. And I was a time when young black men weren't expected to live past 25. And a lot of them were considered angry. And so I wanted to raise positive, once I knew I was having sons, I wanted to raise positive young black men who were community minded, who saw the world not through rose colored glasses, but not through a half empty glass either. Uh, Young men who tackled life, who had a purpose, um, who could give back, who were of value. And yes, you have value just at your birth. You have value just for being here, and you have to see that in children every day. But that's why that the universe made them so cute too, right? Because if you had to get up every day to a holler and screaming adult booger wolf, nah, nah, they probably wouldn't make it. So the universe makes them absolutely adorable and innocent. So you'll be good to them. uh, so, and in being good to them, you have to make sure that you're pouring in good ingredients. So, what's on your list of ingredients? And one of the questions that I have is, are your ingredients natural? And I know Blind Guy, his wife, their life will certainly appreciate this, but I'm not just talking about natural from clean, healthy food source, but natural to you, right? I say that compassion is my superpower, but that doesn't mean that it's yours. It's my strength. That doesn't make it yours. Oh, hey, that's a little bit better. A little bright for me. By the way, shout out to Darius, Richie, and Trash Can Ways for the lights back there. They helped me to reduce the light in front of me, excuse me, on days like this where everything is just a little too intense. So thank you all very much. That's where your donations went. I know it's supposed to go to a bagel, but couldn't help it. That was a little bit more important. I can comfort myself with food anytime. And I probably shouldn't, right? I could end up right back in the spot that I was at before. So Trash Can Waves, your ingredients are honor and loyalty. Let me ask you something. You're a guy. Does your wife have to be your friend? And I mean realistically. Um, Does your partner have to be your friend? That's just on a side note, so you can leave it in the chat. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing, but I've recently been thinking about that one, so I figured that was a great time to bring it up to someone who I know is definitely expressing his dude masculinity with no problem. So I figured you'd be good for it. Excuse me. Um, but are your ingredients natural? Like Kevin said, the men out here want, Pam Grier, Thelma from Good Times. The women out here want, I don't know why they keep talking about this light skin wave, honey. Chocolate Thunder is what I know. But anyway, women want a man who's strong, who can make them feel confident and secure, right? They want a protector. They want more than a provider. They just don't know how to explain all of the other things. And as we go through this journey together, we'll discuss that. I'll break down what it is that they're really looking for, we're really looking for. Um, but we don't know because we've never really been given clear examples of what a relationship looks like. And a lot of times when we see a working relationship, a functioning relationship, we don't know how to stay in a child's place. And so as we grow, we try to pick it apart and put our perspective on it. And so then we have this skewed understanding of what a relationship should be when we get out there into the world. So, are your ingredients natural to you? The things that you've seen through the years, are they natural? Have they made you whole? Right? Um, do they make you feel? Do they feel like they sit inside of you the right way? Do they resonate with your spirit? If not, maybe somebody wrote the wrong ingredients on your recipe card, right? Or maybe the wrong amount of ingredients, you know, here. Oh, that's not going to work for you. Pow. Hopefully that's better. So the amount of ingredients. There are three components to a recipe. The first is the list of ingredients, and the second is the amount of ingredients. So maybe you have natural ingredients. Do you have the right amount? Um, I was on Miss Beef Vanessa's stream some time ago, and I said that I'm a recovering. Well, I said that I'm a smother lover, but there's an Erica Badu song out there, and I would say that that's it. Oh, you're right. At Trash Can with it, you need to define friend because I don't actually do friends, but I will. Give me just 1 second. Let me get through these comments. Yeah, fresh and fit. Are you sure those are the terms you want to use right now in these YouTube streets, sis? I'm just saying, but I agree with you. Fresh, fit, and au natural, honey. Well, we won't get into it. Again, this is a G-rated morning show. Good morning, my vivid life. So glad to see you in the chat this morning. How is your spirit? I hope it is doing well. That's right, Shanita. A protector, indeed. I think that's a great ingredient. I think that we don't talk about enough of uh, what a protector looks like, though. That's why I said a friend. Like Trash Can Ways. When I say a friend, do you want someone who you can tell everything to, who can, y'all are right there, just like a homie? Or do you want do you want someone who's like a homie, or do you want someone who you can share those intimate things with you, the intimate moments? Um, do you want someone who's rah, rah, ride or die friend, or someone who can bring you down from that and bring you peace? I think that's the question that I'm asking. uh Unique view. I think I would love to discuss with you at one point what friendship is, and I think maybe we would agree, but in a different way. She should be in another realm. I agree. I don't think that friendship is it, but I think that we say we want friendship and then we go looking for men to be like our friends, our or vice versa. Men look for women to be like their homies, and I don't think that that's what any of us really needs or wants, or that's or are the good ingredients for our lives. Um, excuse me. So glad to see you all saying hello to each other. Y'all, please make sure to check out each other's page. Unique View has a fantastic channel where she talks about fitness, being over 40 and not making it sound old, like the lead attorney. Thank you very much for that, sis, because I know I do not do a good job of driving that not old point home sometimes. Um, Trash can ways. Well, that's I can see how you see it. Like I said, I think that there's a nuance there to friendship. Again, it's my fault for saying friendship. Although people, that's what people say. So, I don't do friends. I do allies, and I'll have to get into it on another one. I keep promising to do that video. I will. Um, let's see, where are we? Just saying hello. No, not a friend. Just for the word friend's sake, someone who is accountable, trustworthy, innovative, motivated. Those are all really good, great ingredients. At Blind Guy, his wife, their life, Quita. Uh, yeah, yeah. I think that's it. I think trash can ways. We're not willing to admit that we may have a missing piece of sorts, or that we may actually need somebody, right? That we can be alone, but that doesn't mean that we need to be alone or should be alone, or and that what that looks like. We're not willing to tell someone that. We're always afraid that they're going to reject it, right? At least that's my theory on it. Peace is an absolute must, and I think everybody's home. Um, Unique View, if you put your channel link in the chat, I can recopy it and put it back down there so it's clickable. I'm pretty sure. Um, so that you can help Frank out there. And I'm a little too slow this morning to be able to do it myself. I do apologize. A man who has found a wife has found a good thing, and people say that all the time. But is he going to find somebody else's wife? Because it does not say a wife in training, um, a potential wife, a wife, and I think that that's important. So it's just something to consider, right? So we've talked about the list of ingredients. Now, amount of ingredients. Like I said, I was a smother lover. There's a song out there by Erica Badu. She says, "I'm a recovering undercover over lover." Just put smother lover in there. I'm trying to recover from it. My sons have like pushed me. If you don't stop smothering, you will not be able to mother for a while. And you have to keep that in mind. These are adults. They have their own life. They have their own goals and dreams and responsibilities, and they're not beholden to you, even though we want them to be, right? So the best thing that we can do is give them some space. So we've got to be proportionate, right? We got to make sure that we're keeping track of the amounts that we use. Indeed, plus obtain favor. So the amounts that we use, after deciding to murder my fat chick and go and get her out of the way, I also decided that I had to make sure that I was putting the proper amount of nutrients into my family, right? As far as meals and um, calorie intake, getting them to exercise and do all of those things. So when I would go grocery shopping, I was one of those people who would shop a grocery shop mainly twice a month. I would buy, two grocery carts full of groceries, pack my deep freezer, pack up the whole house, had my menu and everything ready to go for the month. Now, mind you, I also ran a daycare, so I needed to be able to have all these things written out pretty far ahead. And in so doing, though, I would need to organize things and get them proportioned. And so one of the things that I would do, or I'm sorry, get them portioned out. So I would have the fellas portion out all of the snacks so that that way they would learn by sight the amount of a portion size of trail mix or cookies or whatever it is. And that started in 2007. And to this day, they can eyeball a portion size of a quarter cup of trail mix. They know that a serving size of Oreos is usually two. Does that stop them from eating six? No. Do they feel slightly guilty? Only a little bit, and especially if I'm on the phone when they're doing it. But I know that I put into them that ingredient, that awareness of what a proper portion size should look like on a plate. Um, did I pour in a proper portion of love in my mothering? I'm not sure. Sometimes, like I said, I think that's smother love. I force people to love in some way. I because I lost my mother, and in the way that I did, I I I don't let people just get off the phone. You can't say bye. You have to say I love you. And then after you say I love you, you can say I see you later or whatever, but you can't say bye. Because I don't know if I'm gonna see you again. And so, and that's my personal trauma, right? That's probably not a healthy portion of love to be pouring into somebody. But I do. So guys, I'm gonna drop the link here in about 14 minutes. Y'all know I give myself the first hour, second hour. We go ahead and do it together. And then if this little body can take it and I don't tuck her out, I'm gonna let that pass. I don't know if you can hear it. And if this body doesn't tuck her out and y'all want to keep talking, we can go for a little while longer. I would really love it if we could start taking these chats over to Discord and have a conversation. Like I said, I won't have a discussion tab or a community tab for a while, but I really like to talk about it. I want to know you guys' perspective in more detail. Help me look at mine a little bit more. Shout out to Spit and Fire. I truly do not go check out her channel. She talks a lot about R. Kelly, and we may all have our feelings. I know I had mine, but she changed my mind. I wasn't willing to support him at first. I wasn't even willing to care, but then she changed my perspective. If they'll do that to these celebrity black men, what would they do to our black men who have no money? Right? What would they do to our sons? What measures will they take? What steps will they go to? What links? So, since I'm already off topic, let me go check the chats and then I'll go back. Um, that's a good perspective. That's a good foundation for your recipe, Trash Can Waves. If the Bible is where you get your foundation from, then that is a good foundation for your recipe. From there, you can sprinkle on a little bit of that Trash Can Waves magic that you got. I don't know what you call it. Um, but yeah, I got a little Tadar in mine, my little special cup of unicorn that I like to add to things. But we all have our own serving size of Oreos are broken up already in rules. No, Trash Can Waves. You're like the best friend who offered my son some chocolate milk and she just poured a little bit of milk in his mouth and then squeezed in the chocolate and told him to do this. No, this is not a foundational recipe at all. Yeah, there are several unique views out there, and that's the problem that I've been having too, I must admit. I thought it was outside. I thought you were over here. It doesn't take, I mean, it take a couple days, but you've been on the road from what I hear. Them backwoods trying to find you some. Hush your mouth now. I'm so glad to see you guys found Trash. I mean, at Unique Views channel. I will certainly get on it. Um, I love Oreos too, Shanita Richardson. Although these days I can only eat one at a time, and I mean literally one now, and then one maybe 2 or 3 days from now. What's the ingredients to your pimp juice? Leave it in the comments. Uh-oh. See, clicking faster than I'm supposed to. And I tell y'all, I have got my fingers click a little bit faster than my brain says, no, that says trash can waves. Don't do it. Anyway, um, so are you over loving? Are you overly jealous? Are you unforgiving when you say you're forgiving? Do you have the right amount of ingredients? Are you checking your recipe periodically? Remember, you're trying to put in a portioned amount. I'm a Libra. I'm a chef. I'm all about a balance, right? A balance of flavors, a balance in your spirit, a balance in your home life. Does it sing? When you taste it, when someone gets a hold of your recipe and they envision that plate, does it seem appealing? Heck, you are the plate. Are people approaching you as if they're appealed? Or do they seem turned off? The people who've had the dish, how have they felt about it? Was it bitter? Did it turn bitter? Did it carry over flavors? Uh, I don't know. Something to think about. So, are you putting in the right amounts? Oh, there I go, clicking the wrong buttons again. Is your recipe card well used or well loved? There is a difference. Are you petty? Yes, I am at Unique View. I'm very, very petty. I was born in Memphis. Petty is an art style. Petty is a rite of passage down there. But I've learned to use my petty for good. I've learned to be professionally petty when necessary, but also to be petty for the sake of fun. You know, am I petty to the point where you're mean spirited and you're hurtful? That's not okay. Not okay at all. But I do remember some of the little things that people do, just so you can pick at people. Isn't it petty to pick at Miss B for her strolls Wednesday through Friday? I'm pretty sure that's petty, but it's fun petty. It's family petty. It's love petty, right? Phrasing does matter. Um, I believe it's the American way, but when I say that Memphis does it with style, honey, we put some flair on there. Memphis is known for petty, pimping, and barbecue. I don't know what to tell you. That's the things that I take away from it all the time. um, but so, excuse me. I am I'm not gonna say that because that would have given Trash Can Wave something to be petty about for the next 3 streams. I caught myself. I'm getting there. I will not leave you low hanging fruit to work with. You're gonna have to at least try hard. Is your recipe card well used or well loved? Think about it. You are leaving behind this card to someone else. You are taking these ingredients and you're going to pour them into someone else and you're going to write their recipe as you do. Are you giving them a well-used recipe or a well-loved one? A well-used recipe, you can tell. It's got all of the stains and the corners are bent and it's dirty. It might be burnt. There's things here. Um, it got dropped in the sauce a couple of times, but a well loved recipe. It's in a book with a cover on it. It's probably handwritten. It it has little notes in there about things you may not remember. It's written just for you. Is the recipe that you're writing well used or well loved? Will it create a well used or well loved result? Will the natural ingredients that you're putting into it create a well used, well loved result? I hated that movie. It was, ugh. Listen, that Samuel L. Jackson looking the way he did, bringing a Becky into the no into the shanty shack. Y'all gonna quit playing with me? Stop it. Petty is the worst world. You think Petty's used more than Toxic at Unique View? Why do I keep saying at? Because in my head I'm typing. Y'all, brain fog. Telling you. Your girl is getting through this though. Thank you so much for staying with us this hour. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna drop the link in just a minute. Please, I hope y'all come up. I got a couple more things, and then we're gonna open the floor to talk about your recipe. Tell me what your ingredients are. Tell me what you're looking for. That barbecue sauce. Ow. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I'm not dealing with you anymore. You know what? The day that you come up trash can waste, I'm gonna have to be well fortified, and I will have had to have emptied my vessel of any weakness so that I can withstand an entire conversation with you semi face to face. This is what I now know for sure. All right. So, what's the third thing on your recipe card? Hmm? What's the third step? What's the third part of a recipe? Preparation instructions. This is where so many cooks go wrong. So many cooks go wrong. Let's just talk about this on a whole side note. As a chef, first of all, thank you very much for cooking for me. I appreciate the fact that you're going to cook for me. Therefore, I don't have to. So, you know what I'm not going to do? I am not going to critique your food as if you were a culinarian. I'm going to be thankful that you fed me. And as long as it is palatable, I'm going to be nice about it. That's the honest truth. Now, if you ask me to critique you like a chef, sit down, buckle up. You're probably not going to like the end results. We might not even be what you call friends. Hopefully, we'll still be allies, though. Now, having said that, your preparation instructions. If you look at your recipe card, uh, it'll say something like preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Raise your hand in the chat if you follow that simple. It's the first step usually. Do you follow the first step in your instructions? Just curious. Anybody? Shanita, I owned up to my girly girl sometime in my 30s, and now wholeheartedly is what I am, right down to the plushy, the goofy little sounds. The tears. Miss B Finesse mentioned it in a conversation she and I had. She was like she was talking about how she appreciated that we were all our individual selves. We were unique to who we are, and we weren't changing that for the internet. And she was like, "And you, JP, crying on the stream all the time." And I was like, "Man, I be trying not to be her, but I'm a mom. Trash can waves, get down, get down. Shh, y'all look out." It's all right. All right, they're gone. We good. We good. We good. You can go ahead and hop back up now. All right, cuz we straight. We straight. So, um, right. Some of y'all, yes, some of y'all doing all of the wrong things when it comes to your recipes. Excuse me, y'all. I couldn't help myself. It was perfect. I don't normally have my window open. I live off of a main road, so that it's always out there. But this was perfect. Close this window, so. Um, but do you just heat it up and listen here? So you see Miss Wishy Washy, and 50-50. If you want to know how come your cookies don't rise, your cakes don't do what they're supposed to, things go sideways, this would be why. This would exactly be why, because you do not do the things that you're supposed to. uh, Now, what makes you think that I am techie enough to know what a VPN is or how to turn it on? And with perfect timing, welcome to your first time in the stream, Coffee Talking Tech. Thank you so much for stopping in. How's your spirit? I hope things are well. Please feel free to leave me a theme song in the chat or in the comments. We're just talking about the recipe for murdering your fat chick. In one of my previous videos, I discussed that I had gastric bypass surgery in 2007, and I murdered my fat chick. And that wasn't just a journey of learning how to eat better or to exercise or moderation, but it also meant changing my mindset and my mentality. And so, in order to murder my fat chick, the first thing that I had to do was have a motive, and my children were my motive. And so then after a motive, I had to come up with the recipe or the plan, right? I got to plot out how I'm going to get away with this murder. And in so doing, I had to have a recipe, things that I go by. And so we were just discussing what a recipe looks like. And your recipe is obviously your name first, who you are, what the final dish product will be. That's you. And we're using food because as one of my many careers, I was a volunteer manager for 20 plus years. I also owned a daycare, and I was a chef or am a chef. I am all of those things. Please forgive me. I'm learning not to say was and to say am, because they are not something of my past. When you live with chronic illness and you fight your body, sometimes you go through that, right? You decided that you can no longer do a thing anymore, so it's no longer a part of you, or you try to set it away from you because you don't want to think about the things that you used to be able to do. Rather than doing what I'm doing now, is taking those skills and figuring out how to use them in a new way, right? So that's really what we're trying to do. I haven't. I don't keep up with a lot of the most recent news, especially military trash can waste, because my youngest, while he's still only in AIT, even and when I was a military kid and a child and spouse, I kept that away from my life, watching maybe once a week because I knew that it would affect my spirit in some way. But if that's what those vets did, I greatly appreciate them. Shout out to them is definitely right. We can't we do a terrible service to our vets. As much as I am proud to be attached to the military, to know that my son is third generation Army, that means something to me. And so when I see vets out here, they get my love and support in the same way the kids do. When I say that, I'm here for those who have no agency and for plugging the holes in boats. I'm talking about them too. Our vets are grossly mistreated and grossly undervalued. But I'm appreciative and thankful for them all the times. So that's probably one of the instructions in there. Create a theme song, hug a vet. I think that's something you should do every day. Because without them, we wouldn't have the right to do any of these things. You know, we wouldn't be able to do any of these things at all. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear it, Coffee Talking Tech, that your family, something, having something to be connected to, grounded to, family matters. It's absolutely important. Um, I hope that everything is working out. The sound's going okay on mobile. I never really get to check before or during the live, but I usually have someone, one of my clients, check for me. Thank you so much, my vivid life. I was so proud. At 6, he said to me he wanted to be a litany of things, and I was like, "Dude, I think you can only do that in the military." And here he is, and he literally told me not to talk about him, and I did. I'm sorry. He's like, everybody's gonna know who it is. Um, moms, you can't help it. I'm so proud of him. He's an amazing dude. He graduated from high school, went right into the military, knows what he wants to do. He has his recipe written, right? He's at the point where now, he can start to sprinkle a little bit of his special sauce on it. Ew. Pause. If you're the mother of sons, you understand why all of that just went through me. If you're the parent of sons, but really, if you're the mother of boys, you know why I'm. Coffee is the best elixir out there. I'm trying to tell you. Thank you so much for that sound check, Coffee Talking Tech. I love the name. I'm telling you, you popped up at a perfect time because I do not know what a VPN. I'm pretty sure I need one. I know Abba and Preach told me I do. Maybe I'll get around to it. Um, so are do you know your instructions, right? Do you know to preheat the oven? Do you know um how to read teaspoon, tablespoon, quarter cup? Do you understand fractions? Dadgummit. I tell people I went to culinary school so I wouldn't have to do anything more than basic math. Boy, was that a lie. Baker's math is a whole other. Not right now. Not right now, y'all. Let me tell you, I went to culinary school and my very first online class was algebra. Algebra. But you know what? I passed it with an A. I got an A, and then because I got an A, I treated myself to a Coach purse. Bow, chicka, wow, wow. Hey, every now and then you got to do them little extra things for yourself, right? You have to set a goal. The high goal was passing the doggone class with an A, right? Passing the class, acceptable. Passing the class with an A, high goal. Reach the high goal, treat yourself. And I did. So, but then that became an unhealthy habit. I was telling one of the citizens in an email that I made the mistake of going overboard. I became an honor student, and so I kind of had a closet full of things that were maybe a little bit too expensive at the time, right? So, just saying. Oh, incognito mode. Nice. Yes. I I still do. Like I said, I'm trying not to treat myself with food, which is why we got lights instead of bagels. But treating yourself matters. Hey, Lady C, did you come in on my dance, y'all? It's me. Why not just let y'all know who I am, right? This is a part of the mother that I was too. So, all right. So I'm gonna drop the link, but we've talked about it, right? We have talked about what's in a recipe. Okay. The recipe is your name. You're the final dish. So the final product, that's your name, your recipe. Okay. And then after your name, we get into what is it? A list of ingredients. Do you have healthy, natural ingredients? Do you have the proper amount of ingredients? And then do you know how to prepare those ingredients? Do you have the proper instructions? In this case, I say, do you have the proper training, knowledge, wisdom necessary? You know, being a parent is more than, hey, I can make a kid. You know, being a parent is more than I saw my parents do it this way, so this is what I'm going to do. It's having a purpose, a reason, intention. What are you putting into your child? I appreciate that coffee talking tech. I will look into it. NordVPN. I think that think that might be one of them that I saw. Uh, excuse me. But do you, now that you've got the ingredients, do you have the equipment? Do you have the knowledge and the training? Right? I went to culinary school. Everybody, thinks they know how to cook. And I went to culinary school. I didn't really think I didn't go to know how to cook. I went to find out why things work the way they are. Why does chicken or do meats brown the way that they do? What is that called? There's a specific name for that type of caramelization. What is that? I wanted the intricate knowledge, not just the put it together, follow the recipe. I wanted to be able to write my own recipe and know that it was going to be something good, something that people would keep coming back for. When you're talking about being someone else's partner, you got to be something that they want to keep coming back for. When you want to be their piece, you got to be something that they can keep coming back for, right? So, can you be your partner's piece? Do you have the ingredients, the equipment, the knowledge, and the training to be your partner's piece? I'm dropping the link right now. Please feel free to come up. Tell me whether or not you have it. Tell me what your recipe is. Do you think you have the proper ingredients? If not, what do you think you're lacking? What do you think you could improve on? You know, it's important. Right, we're always working on it. It's one of those things that I continue to do on a regular basis. Even though I sit in front of you and I'm a life coach and I can help you rebuild your journey. I can teach you how to be resilient, right? I can give you those tools. Um, I still am human. So that's why I also tell you my story, you know, so that you understand that we all have struggles and continued growth to discover why and how we work, how to work better, how to heal ourselves from some of the negative things that have gone on in our lives, Quita, how to put them in the right place. Um, 5%ers have this term they say build on the positive and destroy all negativity. And that's my foundational recipe guideline. As long as the ratio is building on the positive and destroying negativity, I'm happy. I'm so content with that. That's the goal. If we can balance it out where the good, where the positive outweighs the bad, even better. Hey, there's Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Welcome to the stream.
Yes. Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, beautiful lady. How's your spirit?
Oh, it's good. It's really good. I am in the kitchen. It's Saturday morning, so I am not on camera for those reasons, making stuffed bread, oatmeal,
Ooh.
coffee all at once. And I move around too much. It's too distracting for people to watch. And so, yep. So I figured I would pop in just for a moment to discuss the topic.
Well, cool. So, what do you think? Did you have a recipe? Did you have a plan for going into uh marriage and a relationship in general before you even started dating?
I I believe I did, but I don't know that I did because I was young and my image was, oh, okay, whatever everyone else is doing. So I saw long marriages, I saw long relationships. They weren't all great, they weren't all bad. Most of them looked good. So what my recipe was, um, was, oh, okay, get with someone that you like, that likes you, and that you can work with. Like that was pretty much it. And then have some children that you can help be good people. Like it was that generic, that generic. But at the same time, I was 17 when I started dating Corey. So by the time we got married at 25, there were some other things that had been added to it, to that recipe. Like, oh, okay, you can't just like them and they like you. You got to add some cooperation.
Hmm.
And that's where I put into the chat earlier about the motivation, the innovation, all of those things. We started, Corey started our Autumn Pond before we got married because we were already together, and it was an interest of his, so it was going to automatically be an interest of mine, but only if I cooperated,
Right.
only if we were innovative to say, yeah, let's go forward. And it's something that we both still care about. It's a core ingredient that has not changed, so definitely, you add things to it. And so we started out with an angel food cake, and now we have like uh, a wedding cake. We have that with a different flavor on it. You know how people will have those cakes? Well, oh, this layer is almond, this layer is vanilla, this
Yes.
layer is marble to show the flavor. That's that's what we have now. You know what I mean? And on top of that, there's fondant, there are
Mm.
flowers, there's all sorts of adornment.
Hmm.
There's a topper, and I don't even think there's a topper yet because we're still building it. Like
Right.
as we're growing this, and as our children are growing and changing, you got to keep changing it up. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what we found with this recipe thing is that, yeah, it's not like this oatmeal I'm cooking changes. I put a lot of stuff in it. Every time I make it, it's different. Is it craisins and bananas today? Is it peaches and apples tomorrow? Is it walnuts always? You know what I mean? But no matter
Yeah.
what, there has to be oatmeal.
It has to be oatmeal, so you know it's got to have oats and some type
Right.
of liquid.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
Some
the
type
start.
of liquid.
So, like I said, my mother passed, and so one of the things I had to do over the years is I've apologized to my oldest son several times. Listen, bruh, I ain't had no role models. I was doing the best that I could. I did some things terribly wrong. I am so sorry. We've gone to therapy several times. We'll keep going as long as you want. But I say all of that to say, so I had to get books. I read Shahrazad Ali. I read Dr. Juwanza Kunjufu, books on raising Black boys, books on loving Black men, books on being a better Black woman, a better mother. And so, where do you think that you got the inspiration for your recipe? Who wrote your recipe? I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. Life experiences, other people. I've read books, but not a whole lot on like I used to read a lot more when I was younger because I had a lot of time. As a child, you're a child, you got free time. But
Hmm.
growing up, being an adult, uh, since I got my first job, I've always done more than one thing at once. Two to three things is typical. And so when I'm doing one thing, I'm doing another, and I'm learning from those experiences and from the people in those experiences. So, like I'll give you an example. I was a private duty nurse for this family from Romania, right? While there, I was 12 years there working with them. And while there, I learned so much about international culture just from that one person. It allowed me to explore other cultures because I met other people through her. Um, it allowed me to explore cooking. That lady was always cooking. So that's where I got a lot of basic cooking techniques. That's how I learned, that, oh, you can just do this to this meat. You can just do that to that vegetable. And you can also do this and that. So life experiences um, is what I found because I do know that people learn from experiences, not just from reading. And so when I didn't have time to read anymore, I was like, well, shucks, I got to get it some way. I got to figure life out. You have to
Hmm.
improve, and that's the way I got it.
I'm thinking that today our youth are getting so much of these things from not just their peers, not just social media, right? Like a lot of us spend a little bit of our time having our recipe written by our classmates or the people around us away from home because we spent so much time away from our parents. Do you think about that when you're writing your children's recipe? How are you making sure to adjust for that when you're doing your measurements?
What do you mean by spending time away from our parents?
Like when your kids are off at school or dealing, they got that
Oh,
there's that time when they're with their peers and you don't have quite the same reign over the measurements.
well, it's like the school lunch. You pack the school lunch and it comes back home. So what did you eat? Because you don't look hungry. You didn't run in, ravaged. So it's the same way with life. You can give them what you can give them, and you can hope that they are, you know what I mean? And I know, right? You laughing like, yep,
That is
been there,
perfect answer.
done that. Got the T-shirt? I'm sure you do, because And I had one friend, her son was doing this. He was taking the lunch that she gave him, but also she was like, "Why do I keep getting a bill for lunch?" Come to find out, he was yep, Frank, go for it. Make it oatmeal. This is my favorite food, Frank. Oatmeal. That's why I'm such a pro at it. But
Oh,
anyway,
you ruined it with instant oatmeal. We love you. I'm gonna make you a recipe for still cut
uh-uh.
oatmeal.
Let me tell you, unique view. Instant. I love any oatmeal. Let me tell you, I'm not an oatmeal snob. I don't prefer instant, but look, go for it.
I am an oatmeal snob. I prefer steel cut oats, and it's all got to have some type of like creamy liquid in it.
Right, right, right.
But
So
yeah.
yeah, so I'm just like whatever goes, I'm here for it. So what I would say is that with her, she kept getting these bills from the school. Come to find out, he was eating the lunch that she packed. He was also buying a lunch at school. So what was he doing? He was taking whatever was at home and he was getting the input from the outside world as well. And we know that's going to happen because they're out
Mhm.
there. You know what I mean? And so that's where you do what you can do. You put on the filters, you watch, you interject where you can, but at the same time, and I tell my kids this right now, everybody's responsible for themselves. No matter what, my parents had 9 children. We were a blended family like the Brady Bunch, right?
Yes.
And so that meant that they were together, a great example, but every one of us took a different path. I mean, career wise, spouse wise, some are single, some are married, some are divorced, some are remarried. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, what are my parents doing? Still married,
Yeah.
still showing the example, giving us the recipe that they gave us. And Lady C, I just get the Quaker Oats box, whatever old fashioned.
Now, my inner child loves the little packets, of the instant with the peaches and cream or raisins and spice. That raisins and spice,
Hmm.
I will smash that until the wheels fall off. The fat kid in me is always happy to see it.
Hmm.
um,
That
but
make with
so
brown sugar is the one for me, but
oh, I don't think I've tried that one. I might have to look into that one. Um, when you, I guess I think my question. Well, let me say this first. You are the inspiration for this particular subject in this particular way because you mentioned writing a cookbook. And I was like, there are steps to writing a cookbook
hmm.
just in general. And if people don't think about, they think about I'm gonna write a cookbook, I'm gonna get some recipes, and then ta-da, it's done. Not the testing them, the making sure everything is, all of the intricate details. And that's the same thing with your life. You have to set up a plan and then you have to go out and test it and then come back and tweak it. And honey,
Frank is
depending
getting
on
it
who you
in.
are,
That's what I'm talking
sometimes
about.
ain't
Oh,
he?
sorry about
I,
that. I got
no.
walnuts in mine, and yeah, walnuts, nutmeg, craisins, and we use sugar. I do use sugar in the raw, but I don't use honey. We use sugar. But anyways, go ahead.
I
And
use brown sugar. I am a brown sugar fanatic by culinary note. If you put a piece of bread in your brown sugar bag, it'll keep it from getting hard.
You can also make better brown sugar just with sugar and molasses. That way you get the nutrients of the molasses. So that's
This is true as
when
well.
when you were talking about the ingredients, for example, in a recipe, like you have to test it. That was also my stalling point for a cookbook because you shaking your head because um, I said, well, I don't want just a cookbook for what I want to put out there. I want to give people a recipe for health. A recipe for like coffee talk and text saying. I want to alter the recipe so that people at least know, oh, okay, here are some substitutions I can use. If I like brown sugar, let me put it in. But if I'm low in iron or I want to increase my iron, let me make my own. Let me add the molasses to the white sugar. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And instead of just saying, oh, this is a low fat cookbook or a low sugar cookbook. Well, if you're going to use sugar, I want to at least give a recipe that has some knowledge behind the ingredients. So that way people can do something else with it. They can expand their recipe and, make it better.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of those things as we go through this. My mother, like for instance, my mother gave us all the same recipe for spaghetti. And she gave us all a recipe. I'm sorry, a cookbook. At least the three of us who were married when she passed. I say that there are three daughters, but my mother's younger sister lived with us for a time, and we think of my aunt as as a sister. So when the
Hmm.
three of us married, she gave each one of us a cookbook and recipes, and she gave us all the same recipes, but we all cook it differently. Her spaghetti sauce was ground meat. I won't tell you some seasonings and then tomato paste, water, that. But now we all
Hmm.
make it different. I add a whole bunch of fresh vegetables and I tweak it with the fancy chef this and such and that. And I might throw some red wine in it every now and then. And my younger sister keeps it straight comfort and she's adding in all the extra sausage and the meat, trying to warm up the belly and make you feel, you know what I mean? Everybody
Hmm.
has their own take and flair on it, but it all comes from the same basic recipe card. And so, yeah, Coffee Talk and Take, it is certainly okay to tweak the recipe once you understand the instructions and the ingredients um, for the recipe and what amount. There's an order to things when you're cooking, and recipes sometimes leave those things out. For instance, one of the things that's a culinary trick to help get you more flavor in your food is if you're going to simmer something like a meat or a stew, you brown it on all sides first in order to sear in the juices. But that's not usually written on a recipe card. So most people
Hmm.
just straight out boil their meat and they are boiling gray, unpleasant meat. Who wants
Or
that?
they could skip the meat. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, I know how you feel. I do apologize.
No, you know what? Honestly,
you
I don't know that anybody knows how I feel. I like meat. I love meat. I was just
know,
eating meat last year. Pork, chops,
she's
chitlins, all of that. I'm not opposed to meat. I'm just opposed to the health ramifications of meat. That's all. So, and that's why I
yeah.
make my own meat. So, like you're saying, if you're going to have whatever you're going to have, just make sure that you know the best way to handle it. Like you're saying, because when I was eating meat, I was getting the higher and the higher grade because we used to get this sausage when we were younger that smelled like chitlins. So I did not like breakfast sausage. To me, that's what it smelled like when they were cooking it. I found out later, oh, it was the cheap stuff. That's the reason why it smelled like. So so it's one of those things like you're saying, tweak the recipe. Make it work so that if you can get high value, for example, if your children are going to public school and you realize that that public school means that they can get any book from the library, they can get any ebook from the library, they can get all of these different resources. Get what you can, get the best value from what you got so that your recipe can be high value. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And look at
Exactly.
Adrian.
Yes. Hey, Miss Adrian. Welcome to the stream. How's your spirit? You ready to sign up for your first session?
I we can start with cooking, and I do not make ball shaped hamburgers anymore. I make very sexy hamburger. Never mind, it's a G rated. Stop it, boy. You when it comes to food, I'm all over the place in the way that I speak. I'll be in the kitchen when we're in the thick of the weeds, like and singing daycare songs. Everybody around me is like, seriously. We're about this ship is about to go down, and you want to sing Dora the Explorer at don't it? It's this is my comfort zone. It used to be anyway, my sweet spot to be in. Yes, they do use what they call casing. That casing is usually pork intestine. And they also do beef intestines for really large sausages. Dang it. Pause. I'm sorry, my inner 12-year-old boy woke up this morning, y'all. He's just waiting for a good fart joke, to be honest. So, I don't know what to tell you. Um, you can't see at unique view. Dang it, stop saying that. Unique view. Try refreshing. Also, try making sure that you've hit live chat and not top chat because she just
Yeah,
came in.
that would happen to me where I didn't realize. I think YouTube switches you because I'm like, well, why can't I just be in the chat and see everything? So the on the phone, it's those three little menu bars in the chat at the top right for me on Android. And when I click it, it says live chat or top chat. I don't even know, like, why would I want top chat? But I guess if it's
Right.
scrolling really fast, I don't even know why I would want. But live
When it
chat, go ahead.
when it's like in the lead attorneys chat, when you're a channel member, all of those will get moved to the top chat. So you see all of those, and the people who are chatting more consistently, you see those
Hmm.
people you're connected to. You see those.
Right. Instead
So
of just everyone. But I mean, that's why I'm in the chat. I want to see everything. So,
I don't
but
want
I
to see.
guess,
Did you see all of them? The when he did that last fresh and fit thing? If you had, did you try to watch you? Well, you're in there. You're a moderator. You know.
yeah. And that's the other thing. I kind of have to see it. And it's difficult to follow because there's so much fun timing people out. I ain't gonna lie. You're like,
Wield your
you
powers for good.
yes, and that's what makes it feel good because you realize like no, they are not being petty, they're being something else. So let me wield my powers for good, and I do have to watch everything, you know. So
Yeah.
yep, I get it what you're saying, and it can be nerve-wracking if you're just there to chat and hang out and have a good time. And so you're like, that's not in the recipe for this morning. I can't. I don't want that, throw out that spice, take out that pepper. I just want the sugar for this chat. So I get it.
Yeah. Maybe a second. Adrian, is it possible that you might have blocked Unique View by chance, or vice versa? Or vice versa. So I don't think that I can think of because there's nothing inside of here that I would have done to do it. So it's on that end. Adrian Nash and Frank Gooden, y'all want to tell us something? I'm reading this little. Let me read this one more time. Frank Gooden. It seems like forever since we communicated. With a
Mm,
hug
you
and
didn't use the
followed.
right voice. Go
Oh, well,
back.
I'm sorry. Here, hold on. Let me go back. You got the voice?
Frank Gooden. It seems like forever since we communicated.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely the voice. My bad, my bad, my
I
bad.
mean,
Oh,
with
you
that
can
hug
call it
at the end, with that hug,
right.
I,
Let me drop the link. You two want to go ahead and have y'all want a cupcake on stream? I am certainly okay with it. Frank, put the girls in the room now. I'm just kidding. I'm going to behave. Okay, so let me see here. Where you go? Just the sugar coffee talking tech. We plenty of sugar over here, love. We try to give as much as we can. Listen, look at that. Frank, if you don't stop, you're absolutely right. Nothing's gonna get by me, and I'm ready to be a matchmaker. I got you and Miss Adrian. I got the lead attorney and my vivid life.
Lauren. Oh yes, my
No,
vivid life.
no,
Oh, I
my
forgot. I
vivid life
forgot.
hit.
Okay,
Yes, because we can get
that's
my
just the
vivid life to
side.
put on a
Yeah.
toe ring. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. That's a lot easier than the anywho's. All right, and then she said yesterday is like forever. Oh, there we go. I do love matchmaking. I think that it is fun, unique view. I like to see people come together and bond and enjoy each other's company. And when I can put two brown people together or black folks together, I'm all the happier for it. I think black love is the best love. Um,
Got the pickup
oh,
line.
oh, he said, strolling through your mind. Oh, listen, Miss Adrian, you ready to come on up here and spill all your goodies? I mean, beans. Get a tea, girl. Adrian, how you gonna be muted? Come on now. What you, if you
Good
don't stop.
morning, y'all.
There you go. Hey, Miss Adrian, how's your spirit, beautiful? Adrian,
Oh no.
there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. I don't know why, but my mic keeps on muting me. That's
Hmm.
crazy. Um, okay, so you know how I do it, my matriarch.
Yes, I do.
Tenacious and as
Yes, ma'am.
always.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So, tell me,
Good morning, Miss Quita.
oh, let me, hey, Ellie JJ, so glad to see you in the stream. How's your
Hey there,
spirit?
Adrian.
Miss Adrian, let's start with the general question of the day here. And nope.
Okay. Okay. Not
What does your
okay.
recipe look like? Yes. Sorry, I had to find it. Here we go. What does your recipe look like?
I
What
just
does
joined you
Adrian?
like 5 minutes ago.
Okay. So I will
So
give
we're
you a
talking about
quick.
cooking, right?
Yes, we're talking about cooking your life. What does your recipe look like?
Say, for example, Adrian, like your recipe for life as
Oh
far as,
no.
what have you put into, or what did other people put into you? What are you taking and moving forward into other people? All of those different ingredients. So, like JP's is compassion, patience, innovation. She's out here doing Discord. She's bringing us all together, and yeah, all of those things. So, like Trash Can Wig says, what you cooking with? Are you sweet? Are you venomous?
Mm,
Okay. Let's go back to the children's bedtime stories. The Little Red Hen. Does everybody know the story of the Little Red Hen? Yes,
yes.
no, maybe. Yes, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Quita, do you
You're talking
know that
about.
story?
Say that again, please.
The Little Red Hen, the story of the Little Red Hen. She's like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, barnyard homies, I want to bake this
Mm-hmm.
bread. This is Adrian Nash version. This is Adrian Nash version. Hey, barnyard homies, I want to bake this bread. So I need to go out in this field and I need to I need to harvest this wheat. Can you help me? And they're like, so she said, asked the cow, and the cow's like, no, I'm busy. So she's like, all right, bet. So she goes out in the field, she harvests the wheat, right? And so on and so forth. Hey, I need to bake this bread. So I need to grind this wheat into flour. So she asked the goat to help her. And he's like, no, I'm busy. So she's like, all right, bet. So she goes and she harvests the wheat, grinds the wheat into corn, into flour, and so on and so forth, on and on down the line, to the point where she's like, hey, I'm trying to bake this bread. Will you help me bake the bread? No, I'm busy. So she goes and she bakes the bread, and the bread gets baked, and she sits it out on the sill, and everybody's smelling the bread, and the bread is smelling good. And they're like, hey, can I get a slice? And she's like, no, me and my babies are busy. And she takes her bread, she eats her bread with her babies. Right?
Yes.
This Adrian Nash version. I kind of shortened the steps.
Yeah, yeah, we got it. Because even we tell that story too. We tell it a little different, but you did a good job.
Okay.
Especially when you said me and my
You
babies.
did a good job.
Especially when you said me and my babies are busy. We eating this bread.
We, my babies, are eating this bread that I done I've harvested the wheat. I planted the crop. I probably should have started way back. I planted the crop. I harvested the wheat. I cut the wheat. I don't work in the fields, y'all. I'm doing my best with this. I've harvested the wheat. I've ground the wheat into flour. I've made the
Okay.
flour into the dough,
Okay. I
etc.
understand that. So are you saying then that what your recipe looks like is work ethic, your people first, get on or get out the way?
No, so my recipe looks like I said, when you say, how is your spirit? I say tenacious and resilient, like the story, like in this allegory, like I am the little red hen. Now I don't have no babies to share my bread with, but it's been
Yeah.
like quite a lot in my life. Hey, can you help me? No, you're busy. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna do that. So my recipe looks like some humility. Hey, can you help me? No. Okay. Then it looks like tenacity. Oh, okay. Then it looks like resilience. Oh, okay. Um, I don't. What adjective would you put on,
So here's the thing.
ma'am?
I am going to, first of all, thank you so much for coming up, Coffee Talking Tech. I'm going to ask Adrienne this question and have her ponder it while you answer for me what your recipe looks like. But Adrienne, my question to you is, from what I'm hearing, your recipe seems very tribe of one-ish.
It is tribe
Um,
of.
lead and so I think that's my question for you. When you look
Mm.
at your recipe, do you feel like it's lined up for the dish that you're actually trying to present? You ponder that while I get an answer from Coffee Talking Tech, okay?
I need you to ask the question again because I couldn't hear you.
Okay. The recipe that you have right now, the one that
Hmm.
is tribe of one focused, do you believe that that is the rest that's going to produce the end dish that you're looking for?
Okay, I'll ponder
Okay.
that.
Thank you, man. We'll be right back. Go ahead, Coffee Talking Tech. I
This
got
morning.
you. Good morning.
How we doing? We hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I would have never thought I would have been jumping on a stream this morning, but how we all doing?
Glad to
Um,
see you.
what you really caught me with is when you said that you didn't have all the tools from your parents about how to move forward, and you had to make those alters and those changes to move forward to be able to know how to fill the gaps. I was like, man, I could relate to this. So I was like, I'll jump into this recipe. So my whole thought is my recipe is always being altered. And that's what I said, because my recipe was lacking some of the expensive ingredients that we couldn't afford in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot to do with the lack of both my parents having me as they were very young. It was a very tough situation that I think many people could relate to. I was put up for adoption. My mom came back a week later and got me, and you're talking in like 1970. So there was a lot of struggles in my growing up, but the one key thing that equaled my success in any sort of form was that my mom knew how to love. And so she was loving, and along with loving, it can fill a lot of those gaps, but it doesn't teach you a lot of life's, important aspects. So I had to learn those things about how to trust people, because everything was me. Every single choice I ever made was from my perspective, not trusting the people outside of me because I could see that their success wasn't where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you could
So
relate to that.
I can certainly relate to that. One of the things that, even though over here my focus is on young Black folks, community, family, that's because That's where I am. The tools that I use and the information is universal. I
Yeah.
grew up military. My background is dealing with people from all walks of life. So putting it in this culinary vessel, as the lead attorney would say, is just a way of making it clear to everybody. It doesn't matter what you look like. The information is valuable because we all have a recipe. We all have a journey. And oftentimes it's tattered.
Yeah.
It's well used more than it's well loved. you
And
know
one of the blessings of growing up in my family, and I know you like all your information is focused on the Black families and stuff, but I could tell you like how I grew up was really inspiring. One thing was there was never any separation of any type of people or of color of this. I never heard a racist joke at the table, a separation between people. It was never brought up, never ever talked about. It was just we just had to fight our battles about growing up. So one thing is like I just never felt that way about other people, and it showed because when I got into school, high school, middle school, I was one of those guys that people really like because I don't care if you were popular, the football player, the not football player, the kid that had no friends. I treated everybody the same. And that's one of the keys in the recipe of life is if you just treat people the way you want to be treated, then 90% of the time you get treated back the same way.
yeah, I
Can
think
I
that.
add something there?
Yeah, go ahead, Quita.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant about the reciprocity and balance. You get what you give, plain and
Yeah.
simple. And a lot of people
Uh-oh, you're breaking up, Quita.
um,
No, it's
We all got internet problems today.
yeah, you're muffled up, Quita. I think you might be in a corner.
I mean, I think what she's gonna say is like we all come from different backgrounds, but you get treated the way you get treated, and that was the key for me. And even listen, I work in Newark, New Jersey. I don't know if you know, but it's predominantly Black. And the thing is, when people see me, when they look at me at first, they may get a view, okay? But when you talk to me and you take the time to know me, I'm not a judgmental person. So it's like you're going to see that I'm going to treat you the way that anyone's treated me and with respect and whatever. And I could see the faces when people see me at first, I'm on the subway or this or that. And then I can see someone look and I'll just say, hey, what's up? And once I just say, hey, what's up? Sometimes it breaks the ice. I'm having a conversation all the way into New York. You know what I'm saying? So it's great because we can all just break those little boundaries down step by step. And then the key to it is just like she was going to say is giving yourself and then getting back and accepting, that greatness from the other people. So someone was asking about my lights, these little lights I have in the background. If anybody wants to check these out, they're simple outdoor LED lights I got from Amazon. They cost like $32. And the great thing is they're 100 watts, but they're LED, so they're only 15 watts each. They don't get hot, and you can use them and just put them on your wall. And because I have a gray color wall, the gray absorbs any color that's pushed on it. And so that's how I get the background to look like this.
It's gorgeous. I will say, one of those things is so you're new. One of the things I do is I'm a disabled woman and I sit on my porch a lot. In the last year, I've gone from being bedbound to being able to be up enough to do a stream. Okay. But I sit on my porch a lot and I interact with almost everyone. Like I said, I love vets. People see me. A lot of times I'm out there in a unicorn onesie or a Care Bear onesie. So it's either, hey, she's strange enough to approach or stay all the way away from. And so you find that if you just give people a little bit of time. One of my videos way back is from a George Floyd video. And I said, give people 3 minutes of your time. If you can sit and open up your ears just to hear them for 3 minutes, it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter. You'll find something that you can connect on, some level where you
Yep.
can move forward and create something better. You can write a recipe that changes tomorrow. And I think that that's the power in being a parent that we forget, specifically in being a mother, because you get to do it longer. You're pouring into a being, nurturing something whole and great, and you get to create the future. You
Right.
can appreciate that or not. And I think that's the thing that we tend to,
Yeah.
that we're overlooking in this process these days.
Because your child is like that vessel, and then whatever you pour into it is what they're going to exude. So if you don't let them see all these other things, okay, and you just keep on pouring that positivity in all the time, and they don't get to see even all the frustration, well, then they won't stop and get frustrated when a challenge comes up to them. And I
Listen,
think that's, yeah, you got a horn outside. So
okay.
it's like, I think it's like, that challenge that we all have. If they don't get frustrated fast, they'll fight through the battles better.
She got lousy internet back in return. Sorry. So true, LEJJ. And welcome back, Miss Adrian. Can you hear now? Can you communicate with Unique View? That was the more important thing. Okay, well, let me know. I think my question for you, or well, let me say this. I don't want it to go unaddressed.
Okay.
I think we have to be fair in saying that while we want to be able to move in a world um, where color doesn't matter, we don't all get to walk out the front door like that. And why I specifically say young Black men and women is because you face, as the moment you leave your house, you feel like you have to put up an extra set of armor. And
Trust me,
so
you
you
don't have
can't.
to. You don't have to explain to me why. I get it. So, where I live is very diverse, and I understand the struggles between everything, and I know what goes on. So, just like how what you're explaining to me is, and I've only been there once or twice in my life, but I'll give you an example because it's really only the hard hit example I could give you. Is one time I took a motorcycle trip from New Jersey into Tennessee, and it's my first time into Tennessee, and I stopped at a place, and I had a waitress come up to me and talk about how this area is this and that. And she brought up a comment to me, to my face, based off of she only felt comfortable by saying it because she looked at the way I looked. And she said to me that, yeah, this Tennessee would be even a better place if it wasn't for, Black people coming in. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, listen, I said to her, right, I would never have felt good saying nothing. So I said to her, that's not where I came from. That's not the way I grew up. So I don't agree with that. And then she just walked away, and I think she was floored, but the point is I only got to feel that once. So how would you feel if you walked out the door every day and had to fight that battle? It wears, right? And so I don't want to seem, I'm not that person that doesn't understand that. I do. So I get where you're coming from. And then I love how you explain to yourself that even though it's directed towards that the things that we're talking about can be used for anybody. And I get that.
He said, please forgive trash can waste. As you've been in all these other streams, you know that there's a
Yeah,
thin line between good behavior and
I've seen him in Blind Eyes chat and stuff, so I know he has a good sense of humor and a sarcastic one. So, and I love that. So don't worry.
yes, he's a well-meaning cousin. We love him to death, and we appreciate him. I appreciate you for not only being your first day and coming up here on the stream. It is awesome. I think my question then would be, looking at all of the things that are out here, if you were going to add a single ingredient to everybody's recipe, what would it be?
Experience diversity. And the reason I say that is, even if you live in an area like where I live, okay, which you can experience that diversity all the time, which you'll always notice, right? Because every big city has its Chinatown, has its this area, has that area, right? Because people always will stay in those comfortable zones. And if you go back to the 1700s, how people became super educated is by experiencing different parts of the world. And when they went to go experience those different parts of the world, they got to experience the culture. They didn't go to a different culture and say, hey, this is my culture and this is the way I am, and I'm not going to be like that. What they did is they went to different cultures and said, I respect your culture. I want to see what you're all about. And I want to learn what you're all about, because instead of shutting things out, which we do today, it was more about, I wanted to learn this because then I can understand what type of people you are. And once you start taking that time to experience what people are all about, and you listen and don't think about what you're going to say next to them, then that's when you start making this happen, right? Everything just comes together and go, you know what? We don't agree with maybe this or that. But what you said earlier, right, which is, if you just start taking those disagreements out, you're going to find out that 80% of everything else, we're the same,
Exactly.
you know? So stop trying to separate yourself, because that's what people want us to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I
So
thank you so much.
diversity, I think it's just like taking the time to spend time with different people and accept what they're all about and go from there.
Yes. Quita, is your microphone back?
Okay,
Nope,
let's
she's
see.
still.
You tell me. How
Yep,
do I
there we go.
sound?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for that. Pretty much earlier, balance, reciprocity. You get what you give. And like Coffee Talking Tech is saying, diversity. If you are the one that always averts other people's eyes, you're not going to get anything different. You're not going to experience anything different. And so, say for example, I'm laughing at the soul food dish. Say for example, if you were okay, let's take Adrian's story and we're gonna insert coffee talking text soul food dish, right? So say for
Mm-hmm.
example, if coffee talking tech was like, man, I need some macaroni and cheese, even though that's one of
I
those
was
universal
just
things.
thinking that too. Macaroni, cheese, and collard greens.
Right? Because everybody loves it. We try to claim it as a soul food, but for real, like that's a people food. Everybody loves those things, right?
Yep.
So so let's say if Little Red, I mean not Little Red, if the Little Red Hen was out there like oh my goodness, who's going to help me plant the collards? Not me, said the dog. Mm-mm, said the cow. Move over, or whatever. And okay, well, I'll just take my tenacity that I have. I have this endurance spirit in me. Let me go plant these collards. You know what I mean? So even though like Adrian was saying, uh, I'm a soul tribe, sort of, but she's not, because what she was saying when she was talking about tenacity, endurance, she still had to pull those things from somewhere else, you know, and that's what it really is all about, the diversity of bringing in parts of the recipe that are going to improve your dish. Because when the little red hen is planting the collard greens, and when she's over here asking the cow for some milk, you know what I mean? She's still she's still saying, okay, look, I got to get this done. I got
Yep.
to bring in whatever's good, whatever's going to make this good. And of course, if the cow says move over, then what she has to do is go to the almond tree, grind those, add it with the water, and make some almond milk, and still make that macaroni and cheese, because she's got to tweak the recipe, right? She's got to make
Yeah.
it
That's
diverse.
how I do it. That's how I do it.
That is exactly right. Go ahead, Miss Adrian. Thank you, Coffee Talking Tech, for letting us know it's collard greens and macaroni and cheese. And let's just be honest, comfort food is comfort food. I tell people all the time that in a previous life, I was a Mexican truck driver, because I will eat tacos all day long, and you can let me
Yes.
drive anywhere, honey. I want to go. So, yes, probably inappropriate excuse, but Go ahead, Miss Adrian. Tell us about your recipe. Or actually, what were you saying before you got
I mean,
Muffled.
I was just, concurring with what Quita was saying, that learning how to improvise with what you have. I don't know if that's can be squeezed into one adjective, but yes, it's been all of that for me. Now, what I have found personally, like a story comes to mind from undergrad. I was a non-traditional student, meaning a student that was 25 years of age or older. So that looked a specific way in the program that I was in. So I was in this class that was like an all day, like marathon type class. And I made this like huge submarine sandwich to take to school with me one day. And I went to the cafe and asked the cafeteria worker to cut up my sandwich for me. And so he said, how many pieces should I cut it up into? And I said, oh, I don't know, 4 or 6. And so he cut up my sandwich into the 4 or 6 pieces, and he gave it back to me in those, I don't know what you call those, like styrofoam trays. What do you call it, JP? Culinary genius. I don't, it's
Oh,
a
you just gonna put
styrofoam,
somebody? It's a clamshell.
a clamshell. Okay. And so he asked if he could have a slice, and I'm like, of course. So he put some tater tots with it, and so I have these like 5 clamshells because he took one, right? And I took it back to my classroom, and I say to my classmates, hey, I made a sandwich. Would you like to share my sandwich? And so I'm giving out like this sandwich with these tater tots, and I made a few new friends, and like that's kind of been the story of my life. Like when I was in my apartment, and I'd have like extra produce. Like I'd always overbuy on produce. Like rather than throwing it away, I'd put it in some grocery bags and go hang it on my neighbors' doors and knock and walk away. And so, my neighbors would come out and see all this produce.
You ding dong
be like,
different groceries.
it's so I do like the Adrian Nash version of Ding Dong Ditch. That's the Adrian Nash version, right? And there was like this one time when I caught some carne asada on markdown, and I gave it to my Mexican neighbor next door, like, straight from across the border from Mexicali, Mexico, Mexican. Her mother would come up and visit. Her mother didn't speak a lick of English, and her mother wanted to know, where did the carne asada come from? And so my neighbor would tell her mother, and her mother would say, La señora negra? Like she could not understand.
Why would you have that?
Like what does this black girl know about this carne asada over here?
Mm-hmm.
My whole thing with food is like, I like food too much to be hating on anyone. The food is it's your culture, it's your soul. It's like, hey, can I get together with whoever and break some bread and learn some things? Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's eat these snacks.
Yeah.
Please and thank you. And so yes, I guess like while it is true that my personal ascension kind of looks Little Red Hen-ish from a family of origin perspective, like I found that I'm able to build a community wherever I go by doing the Adrian Nash version of Ding Dong Ditch and giving away a sandwich.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I really like how she said about breaking bread and culture because like even if you relate, right, even Anthony Bourdain's his TV show, okay, it's all about food, right? But the thing is,
Yes.
what does he show? It's not really about food. It's about the food bringing people together, and then they sit down
Right.
and he tells you the whole show from that culture perspective. So the food is bringing it together, and then we talk about ourselves, right? And there you
Right.
go. And nope,
Absolutely.
yep.
That's
Yep.
exactly it.
Absolutely.
And that's the same thing that we're doing here. We are coming together. My stories start the conversation, but it's all the same journey. And we are all finding out that no matter what we look like, no matter what our comfort food is, no matter how we walk this life, we all got a journey and we need each other just a little bit. We come together as a community with some compassion and we can get a whole lot further. Thank you, Normal Free Love Zone, for checking in. I really hope that it's not the pain insomnia that's had you up since 3:30. It's certainly what kept me from going to sleep all night. You guys, Coffee
Trash
Tech and
can
Talk,
wait.
I try my best to make it to the 2 hour mark. And then after that, we kind of see how it goes. Like I said, my little body starts to waver around that point. Thank you so much for coming up for your first time here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I have to go meet my family now anyway. So that's
No
perfect.
problem.
Thank you
Feel,
so much.
thank
And
you. Come
I'm
back
looking forward
anytime.
to thank you. Okay. Bye guys.
Thank you.
Bye
Um,
bye.
and then I will make sure that I try to get you guys' information into the next chat, you guys, or stream. I do apologize. Miss Adrian, you stay right there because I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Normal free zone chats are coming from Twitch, so that may be why you don't see her in the server in the stream unless I put them up. And so I'm trying to make sure that if they come up, as a matter of fact, we'll do it this way. I'm gonna send this, and then you guys let me know if you see it. And let me know who sees it. Um, in fact, if you don't see a message from me, then you'll know. Okay, so okay, yeah. No, you're not blocked. That's where she's coming up from then. And mind your business, trans can ways about that man's wife. Or next time you see him in the chat, you make sure you ask him. You guys, thank you so much for joining the talk today. And so, okay, yeah, it's because she's coming up from Twitch, which means that's a good thing. Now I know I have to show all of the Twitch messages from the stream. I'm able to do it directly from here and it'll go to both, but her messages I will have to feed over. So yay, we learned something new today. Ta-da! I'm so excited, you guys. Today was a good day. We got a new someone to the stream, a new panelist. You guys, we talked about your recipe. I really hope that you'll go home or you'll move forward today checking out your recipe, maybe take an introspective look and whether or not you need to adjust it. Oh, I am so sorry to hear that, Normal Free. Um, as soon as I get off, I will send you a Discord, or after I go potty, I'll send you a Discord, and we can chat about it. Miss Adrian Nash,
Yes,
um,
ma'am.
I think the one thing that I want to ask you is we've talked about the alpha female thing. So my question
Mhm.
to you is, if your dish isn't exactly what you think it should be, do you think that alpha female part, the alpha female ingredient plays a part in that? And do you need to tweak it or remove it?
Wow, that was a compound question, JP. um, yes, it plays a part. Um, at this juncture, it's not pragmatic to remove it. And
Okay.
that's my honest and sincere answer.
No, and that's an absolutely fair answer. I'm glad that you were willing to give one. It was a put you on the spot just a little bit question. Um,
Mhm.
let's see, what does Trash Can Way say? I mean,
Trash Can Waves does the
Trash
most.
Can Wave, you are doing the most on a Saturday
The
morning.
most.
I appreciate you being in the stream today, you guys. I thank you, each and every one of you, for being citizens. At the end of the day, like I said, you're not subscribers, you're not followers, you're citizens. All of us are looking for our peace in this life. And I believe that if we can find a recipe that we can all write together, we can put out a code and a recipe that everybody can use to move forward. Any questions, comments? I have created a Discord, you guys. Please try out Discord. Our younger folks are over there on Discord and Twitch, and we need to go and start having conversations with them. Plus, I'd like to be able to build a community and talk to you guys in the in between times until I can get my 1,000 subscribers and my 4,000 watch hours. Outside of that, thank you guys so much for showing up today. Leave me a theme song in the comments. Keep your spirit up. Miss Adrienne Nash, I promise I will continue to work to be a good matriarch as long as you continue to show up and give me some support and love in the theme song every now and then. All right?
Absolutely.
Thank you
My
guys so
pleasure.
much for coming. Y'all have a good afternoon and keep your spirit up.